I see you are carrying a gun. That makes me uncomfortable. You must be one of those gun nuts.
Why does my gun make you uncomfortable? I am no threat to you unless you try to attack me.
But if you have a gun, you might try to shoot me.
If I wanted to harm you, I could, whether or not I have a gun. I could point out that you could also attack me with your skull hat. Should I whine about that too? Guns are just tools. Any tool can be used in good ways or bad ways.
But guns only have one purpose: to kill people.
Then police should not have guns.
But
guns have many purposes. They are collector's items, works of art. They can be a hobby and recreation, and can be used to send a projectile to a target at high velocity. Yes, they can take lives, but guns save more lives than they take, usually without a shot being fired and without any publicity. And, sometimes, you have to take the life of an aggressor to save an innocent life.
Who's to say who is innocent?
Anyone who isn't attacking or stealing, or harming private property, right this minute, is innocent. They don't deserve to be harmed right now. Even a child should understand that.
When you have a gun, you violate my right to not be around guns.
You are free to leave. You don't have a right to not be offended. This is not your private property to control.
So, you are one of those crazy people who believes the Second Amendment gives you the right to have a gun?
No. I have a right to do anything that doesn't violate your equal and identical rights. That includes my right to own and to carry a gun. But rights don't come from any document. The Second Amendment only recognizes a right that already exists for every human ever born. It makes it a serious crime for government to pass or enforce any anti-gun law. The Bill of Rights doesn't give anyone any rights. It takes some things off the table for those who work for government, and places them on a high shelf, out of reach of those who would abuse them.
So you think you have a right to just shoot into a crowd of people anytime you want?
No. I have a right to own and carry a gun, but no right to use it to harm innocent people. Are you even listening?
But surely you must admit, some people shouldn't have guns, and that some guns are just too dangerous.
Who should get to decide who gets to defend their life with a gun?
But mentally ill?
Who gets to decide what constitutes a mental illness? Governments have always labeled those who they feared as mentally ill. There is no way to keep guns away from mentally ill people without harming others by making it more difficult to get the guns they want or need. And anyone who can't be trusted with a gun can't be trusted. That includes those considered to be felons. I'd rather take my chances with freelance troublemakers than with government goons who believe they have the authority to ration rights.
But shouldn't everyone have to have a background check to get a gun?
People who want to rob and murder don't buy their guns from gun stores or gun shows. They often get them from other criminals in private. Or they steal them. No matter what the laws, they won't obey. And what kinds of guns would you say are too dangerous? Machine guns? Semi-automatic guns? Sniper rifles? Handguns? It's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not the tool, it's the act. Hold people accountable for what they do, not for what they use.
What about high-capacity clips?
I'm guessing you have listened to too much anti-gun propaganda, and that you mean regular capacity magazines. They are flat boxes with a spring inside. Easy to make. And it takes almost no longer to switch out 3 10-round magazines than to shoot all the cartridges in one 30-round magazine. You are falling for emotional propaganda, which is not based in reality.
But if you try to defend yourself with a gun, it will just be taken and used against you.
It might happen sometimes, but no tool has ever been invented that makes it safer for a person to defend themselves from a larger, meaner and stronger attacker, with less chance of being hurt in the process, than the personal firearm. If guns will only get taken away and used against you, and have no defensive value, shouldn't cops and military give up their guns for their own safety? And then, why would anyone hire armed bodyguards?
You have to be kidding. Those are trained professionals.
Trained professions? So that's why cops are more likely to shoot the wrong person when encountering a crime in progress than the average armed witness is.
Well, A gun in your house is more likely to be used against a family member or used to commit suicide than to protect your family.
You still believe the lies put out by anti-liberty bigots like the Bradys? Those false statistics were shown to be completely made up decades ago. Try again.
I think only cops in the military should have guns. Even the Second Amendment mentions a well-regulated militia.
Do you know what the militia is? It is you and me. It is not the National Guard, which came along well over a century too late to have been the reason for the Second Amendment. Well-regulated means fine-tuned, not controlled by government laws as anti-liberty bigots would want you to believe. Also, if you really want to talk about the Second Amendment, you need to understand that the specific kinds of guns shielded from government laws are those currently used by the military. Machine guns and all the weapons of war.
You can't be serious. Tanks and nuclear missiles?
Yes. But tell me, how can you afford those, and how can you use them without harming innocent people? Remember, you have no right to shoot where you would hurt the innocent. Can you afford the risk, when you will be held personally responsible for any harm you do? Governments are nothing but people. If people shouldn't have them, governments shouldn't have them. If gun owners were really as dangerous as the anti-liberty bigots claim, there wouldn't be any anti-liberty bigots left.
But what if one of your kids tried to murder someone with a gun?
If that happened, with or without a gun, I would hope that someone stopped the murder somehow, even if it meant shooting my kid. I don't want innocent people harmed. If something happened to my mind in the future, and I went on a rampage, since right now I can think clearly, I can tell you I would want someone to do whatever it took to prevent me from harming any innocent people, including shooting me. And what do guns have to do with that? I really don't understand those who seem to think being killed with a bullet is worse than any other way.
But what about mass shootings?
They almost always happen in places, like schools, where well-meaning stupid policies have made it illegal to have a gun. Only good people who don't want to murder follow those laws. People who don't mind breaking laws against murder, don't mind breaking laws against possessing guns. Those massacres are not cases of too many guns, but of too few. The more guns in good hands, the safer everyone is.
So you would force me to have a gun?
Of course not. It is just as wrong to force someone to have a gun as it is to forbid someone to have one. Listen, no one ever forbids you to have a gun, or the normal accessories and ammunition for it, for your own good. No. They do it so they can do things to you that you'd stop if you could. They want to make it so that you can't resist them. Anyone trying to regulate guns is your mortal enemy. It doesn't matter if they say it's for common sense, or they're doing it for the children, or for safety. They are making your children and you less safe. Anyone advocating any anti-gun law is a very bad person, or has been brainwashed by very bad people. For a genocide to be carried out, people must first be disarmed. Don't let it happen.
So you think your silly little militia can defeat a modern military?
It only takes one shot to take a fully functional modern weapon away from the person using it against you. Just ask the Middle Easterners who are facing a modern military threat. Don't underestimate people defending their homes. The little guys might not win in every situation, but don't give up just because the bad guys tell you to. Their confidence works against them.
But I just don't like guns. I am afraid of them.
Freud said a fear of weapons could be the sign of a mental problem. But it's fine with me if you don't like guns. I probably don't like something that's important to you, something you might even be able to use to harm me if you wanted to. The difference is I would never try to get laws passed to take it away from you. Live and let live. I won't violate your rights and I expect the same from you. Good day.